We just covered how orphans are presented in the Quran. Now, how are orphans presented in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? First of all, we should know that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the greatest orphan sponsor. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he married Salama, he married Salama also to take care of her kids. Abu Salama, when he passed away, the Prophet ﷺ married Salama, and she was an old lady with children, Umar, Salama, Zainab, and Durra. And they were orphans in the support and the custody of the Prophet ﷺ, and he took care of them. And even Umar ibn Abi Salama narrated a hadith based on his memories with the Prophet ﷺ when he was a child. We all know this hadith, but maybe you do not recognize that this is Umar, the orphan that the Prophet ﷺ was supporting after he got married to Salama. You know the hadith when the Prophet ﷺ was sitting and a child was eating, and he was eating from the plate everywhere, right and left, and the Prophet ﷺ instructed him, eat with your right hand and eat only from the part that is closer to you. That was Umar ibn Abi Salama. He said, كنت غلاما في حجر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I was a little kid in the support of the custody of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. وكانت يدي تطيش في الصحفة. And he was eating right and left. فقال لي يا غلام, O little child, سم الله, say Bismillah, وكل بيمينك, and eat with your right hand, وكل مما يليك, and eat only from the part that is closer to you. The Prophet ﷺ associated taking care of the orphans with entering Jannah. He said, ﷺ, whoever adds an orphan, a Muslim orphan, to share some of his food and drinks until they become independent, وَجَبَتْ لَهُ Jannah. Jannah will be definitely, they will be definitely rewarded Jannah. Not only that, we know from a hadith that is very famous, and all of you would remember, that it's not only about Jannah, but as I mentioned in the beginning of the khutbah, is the dream of that man who was sponsoring the orphans. You will be with the Prophet ﷺ like this. And he said, ﷺ, أَنَا وَكَافِرُ الْيَتِيمِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ كَهَاتَيْنِ. And he pointed with his two fingers. I and the one who sponsored the orphans are like this. Many scholars contemplated on this hadith because, yes, we understand that this is a great reward, but usually rewards have to deal with the good deed you're doing. So what is the relationship between being in the companionship of the Prophet ﷺ and taking care of the orphans? Ibn Hajar raises this question, and he says the reason why the orphan supporters are given that honor is because when you support an orphan, it's not just about the food and the physical support that you're giving. Because when you're supporting them, what you're doing is something deeper, which is protecting their faith and educating them. And this is the job of the prophets. And this is what makes you associated with the work of the Prophet ﷺ. And saying this because today we will be given the opportunity and the honor to sponsor some orphans. And these are needy children. And the needy children in this case are actually as unfortunate as the orphans. This is the orphans who belongs to the Rohingya caste in Bangladesh. I was fundraising one day for them on behalf of Basma organization, and someone told me, have you ever been to the Rohingya camps before? I said no. Well, I hear all of the statistics and everything about their conditions. It's one of the most persecuted minority in the world. They are stateless people They are not Bangladesh citizens, and they cannot go back to their homeland. No country claims them, and they live almost 100% on aid. They do not work. He said, but if you go and visit them, you will understand that words cannot carry their pain. And subhanAllah, that stayed with me. And I was determined, especially after we heard about some problems with organizations. I talked to the brothers in Basma and I said, I want to go to Bangladesh and see with my own eyes the condition of those people and what Basma specifically is doing. And your office is there. And the brother Amir Hussein is with us, was managing the support today, said he didn't hesitate, said as soon as possible we'll arrange for this. It was very tough. It was at the time when there was a lot of wars going on. Many people will not travel. But I said, this is the only time I'm available in, and I need to go there and see. I went there. I could not have enough time to see all of the facilities and the centers there. When it comes to medical support for free, when it comes to taking care of the orphans, education, and there's a video that I made there, and I didn't have the intention to make any videos. I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but I told them I do not want to be compensated for this journey. I did it for verification, and that was for my own self. But subhanAllah, I went there and I found all of these offices for education, for medications, and for support. And even meanwhile, they are supporting people in Bangladesh itself. Because the doctors and the people who are managing all of this are also from Bangladesh. So it's a great way of supporting both people in Bangladesh when it comes to being the ones who are helping out and being also paid for this job and taking care of the Rohingya camps. When I was there, I said, I want to spend more time. I want to spend more time here. Maybe stay until Isha. And the man said, no, we cannot do that. We have to leave before Maghrib. And I was surprised, what is the problem? And he said, it may not be safe if we stay here until Maghrib. And that made me really very worried. Because there is a new generation coming. If you do not take care of them, they become like huge future problems. You can think about drugs and all of haram things. Yes, it is camps made of small branches of trees, and they call it houses. Yeah, the word house in the dictionary can never be defined. You would not imagine this until you go there and see it yourself. But the idea of associating that help with the orphans and the needy, with being with the Prophet ﷺ made more sense to me. Because you're not just protecting them and providing food for them, you're preserving their faith and their Allah. Imagine yourself in that situation, no citizenship to claim, no food to eat, no one cares about you. What do you expect psychologically and emotionally? Where is your identity in this whole crisis? So supporting them became like faith, responsibility. It's not just because I am worried someone will be sleeping without food on their table. It's more about protecting and preserving their faith. And that is why it became very obvious to me that those people really need help. What made me more worried is that most of the organizations supporting the Rohingya camps are non-Muslims. Most of the aid is coming from non-Muslim organizations. So when the help comes from a Muslim organization, teaching them Quran and telling them this help comes from your Muslim brothers who do not know your names, that means the world to them. And I went there and I listened to their Quran and their anashid in their own language. But the point is, do not feel that this is an exaggeration there is an exaggeration between supporting the orphan and being with the Prophet ﷺ in Jannah. No, this is the word of the Prophet. And when it comes to those people, we know that they rely on help. If not 100%, which is the case usually, it's more than 90%. They rely on that help. Because they don't have the luxury of working anywhere. They are in camps. And when I ask them, why don't we have some dignity in building the houses? Why do we use these bamboo trees to build houses? I was told that this is intentional, so they always feel that this is temporary. This is temporary. You're not here to stay. We're waiting for a solution. And in Bangladesh, the economy is really, they need help. So we cannot expect them to help beyond what they could afford. That is why it becomes our responsibility to help out. And the way this work is organized is that, and this is what I love about it, is that it helps both the Rohingya as providing the help, and also opportunities for work for people in Bangladesh itself.